Hey everybody, meteorologist Ethan Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center for our Wednesday edition of 19 at noon. And we are live wherever you stream. Not only on Fox19.com, the Fox 19 News First Alert weather app, Roku, Apple TV, all that stuff. We're also live on Facebook. We can ask questions or comments there. We're also live on the 24/7 weather streaming channel, and we're now live on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you go to our YouTube page there, Fox 19. You'll see us there live. Now, eventually, we'll be able to monitor comments and questions there, but for the time being, we're just live on YouTube. So we're live, again, wherever you stream. Now, today is a first alert weather day because of the risk for maybe a couple of stronger storms this afternoon and this evening. Now, we're not looking at this to be a major threat. In fact, I think the biggest threat is going to be the heavy rain as opposed to strong winds or hail. But we will have the potential for that in a few storms later today. So we'll begin with the timeline. This is what Frank had made. So this is going to show this early afternoon and this evening. So the severe risk between 1 p.m. and 9 p.m., I've shifted it 2 to 10. Just because we are looking at maybe a few sprinkles out there now between now and about 2 o'clock. And then after 10 o'clock tonight, the rain tapers off and we are looking at humidity decreasing. We still have a slight risk of strong to severe storms pretty much along and east of I-71, kind of the culprit as this frontal system does make its way through the region. But again, between 2 and 10 o'clock, we have that threat for very heavy rainfall, which could result and maybe some localized flooding. Reason being is because it's been so dry. The soil can't take a lot of moisture in a short period of time. However, we are looking at some much needed rain possibly in the region here this afternoon and this evening. Also, so the threat of some gusty winds and perhaps some hail. But I will say behind these storms, we are looking at some relief. The muggy meter, you're going to see, I mentioned this on 19 at 6 over the weekend, but if you missed that, we are looking at kind of a, and it's cliche, a roller coaster of moisture, temperature, and humidity. And you'll see an example of that on our muggy meter. So today, humid to muggy conditions. We go into Thursday, more comfortable air. It stays with us through part of Friday, but then Friday afternoon, you'll begin to notice the humidity increase. Saturday, a very sticky day, and then we go into Sunday evening into Monday of next week, and we are looking at more comfortable air yet again. So, again, a roller coaster of muggy to comfortable air into the area. So, take a live look on our Queensgate rooftop camera here, and we are looking at a lot of cloud cover, still holding on. Temperatures steady at 77. They have not changed very much. And I think the limiting factor to the threat of severe weather is going to be the cloud cover. Now, as I mentioned, we're still got the threat for some stronger storms. We do have some forcing as a front makes its way through the area. And on top of that, we do have some stronger winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which will help promote some stronger storms. However, the threat is limited. So we're not looking at everyone seeing the risk of strong to severe storms, but primarily our eastern and southeastern counties with that. And we'll take a look at radar right now. As I mentioned, there's a couple areas that are seeing maybe a few sprinkles, but we're not looking at this to be of major concern right now. Once the radar loads, you'll see there were a few sprinkles. There are a couple of spots that are seeing maybe a brief downpour over towards Grant, Bracken counties. We'll zoom into that. You'll see some of these pockets of yellow and orange indicating, yeah, maybe some light to moderate downpours over to the east of Falmouth, right past U.S. Route 27. And then also to the west of McKinney'sburg, also into southern portions of Bracken County towards Barry, which is outside of the Fox 19 now viewing area. Maybe a brief downpour there as well. But otherwise, the rest of the tri-state is rather dry. Now, there is a little bit of sprinkles, it looks like, over towards Fayette County, over towards the Fairview, Connorsville area to the north and west of Laurel, Indiana, and also towards St. Paul, Indiana, over into Decatur County, right to west of Greensburg along I-74. But other than that, you can see the rest of the tri-state looks relatively dry. Maybe a couple of sprinkles here in Cincinnati, but nothing really more than that as it stands right now. take a look at some comments and questions on our Facebook pages. We have some comments and questions on not only the Fox 19 Facebook page, but this is also cross-posted, meaning it's kind of posted at the same time on my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. First comment or question is from Beth Bishop Sandman, asking, will they get the Reds game in? Yes, I believe they'll get the Reds game in. Something we'll be monitoring, of course, we are the official forecast providers for the Cincinnati Reds, and we've been talking with them all morning about this threat for perhaps a few stronger storms. Now, they're going to be scattered storms, so again, not everyone's going to be seeing everything. Some places we'll see maybe a few showers, a rumble of thunder. Other places we'll see some of those storms be stronger with some gusty winds as well as some hail. Looking at my Facebook page real quick to see if we have any comments or questions there before we begin to resume. Take a look at that forecast model and then also look at the rest of the week in the forecast. I don't see any comments or questions on my Facebook page. We do have another comment, though, on our Fox 19 Facebook page. This is Mizzle Venice saying they're getting some sprinkles around Clifton Avenue. Yeah, so not a lot of moisture right now. It's just enough for sprinkles. It is humid outside. And this is all going to set up some of that moisture for this afternoon for those threats for maybe some very heavy rainfall. Braden asks, tornado chances. I do not foresee any tornado chances today, where I think the threat's going to be just heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds, and that's really all that I see, but there could be also that really small threat for maybe some hail, but I'm, again, not really optimistic about that either. But you can see on radar and satellite, this is overdoing it a little bit, but there is some rain to our south, due south of Cincinnati, and then also to the north and west. It's very light activity. But one thing we're watching for this evening, you can see this little cluster of storms here, and then also further off to the north and west, there's a front making its way through. It's going to give us that moisture as well as that forcing from the front to bring us that potential for, again, maybe a few strong storms. Look at temperatures right now, those latest observations, and then we'll dive into the model data here for just a moment. But right now, temperatures as of noon at various airports here in the tri-state are around 79 degrees over at the Lunken Airport, 80 in Batavia, 75 in Falmouth, 77 over at CVG. A little bit cooler, though, over towards Batesville, Indiana at 73. But take a look at this, the dew points, the measure of the moisture in the atmosphere. Very sticky air with us. 72 dew point over at the Lunken Airport, 75 dew point reading over in Lebanon, 73 dew point reading over in Batesville, in the upper 60s and low 70s, which is still indicating sticky air over the area. You factor that in, and it does feel like the low 80s in parts of the tri-state. The cloud cover, though, is limiting some of that daytime heating, although we will still see high temperatures in the low to mid 80s. So take a look now at our forecast model behind me. You'll see here in just moments. This is a model that does a really good job typically with these storms when they have a front associated with them or any kind of convection. And this indeed will be one of those scenarios. So it's doing a really good job right now indicating some of those showers here to the south and east, also some of the sprinkles to our north and to our east by the 12:30 hour that are currently over towards central portions of Hamilton County. We go ahead and go forward in time. After 2 o'clock, you begin to see storms developing up to the north and west, the top left of the screen here where the banner is. They're going to make their way down, and you can see the threats beginning to increase after 5 p.m. You notice how these cells, again, they're scattered, so some places this afternoon won't see as much rain. I just want to emphasize that. This will be one of those scattered scenarios, and you can see areas from light green to red indicating downpour threats, and that's what I'm saying, the threat for very heavy rainfall. It would be localized, so some places might see maybe 1/10 of an inch, while others could see more than 1/4 of an inch of rain in a short period of time. So this is 7 o'clock. You can see these cells are kind of popping up as that front makes its way through. And then we go forward in time here, 7, 8 o'clock, and that front is sweeping its way by. And notice the temperature change. So sunset not happening just yet at this time. So that's 8:30. Ahead of the storms, 82 over in Maysville. Behind this front, down to 70 in Connorsville. That's some of that rain-cooled air behind this, and that's going to be another factor in bringing in that threat for gusty winds. So that's why the main threats, I think, with these storms this evening is going to be the heavy rain and the gusty winds. Heavy rain because, obviously, a lot of moisture. There's dew points in the 70s, that sticky air mass over top of us, and as I showed you, all that dark red and light green in a short distance leads to the threat for downpours. But also, when you have that much disparity of really intense rain in a short area in a short period of time, you're going to have to balance that energy somehow. So you have temperatures in the 80s in some spots. We'll back this up real quick. So you have, as that front makes its way through, you have these little cells, so you're dumping a lot of rain in a short period of time. You have that rain-cooled air, and so that rain-cooled air behind the storm has to cool things down. When you have that temperature disparity and the moisture disparity, you're going to have some winds. So you can see here, Batesville, 81, Connorsville, 72. So about a 10-degree difference in temperatures in a short period of time because of these cells. And that cooler air is going to allow for stronger wind gusts. Now, I think a lot of these storms are going to likely be what we call subsevere, and they'll be likely issuing what we call special weather statements. You saw some of those yesterday on our social media accounts, perhaps. But that pretty much means the storm is strong, not quite severe criteria, meaning wind gusts in excess of 50 knots or 58 miles per hour. But I do think there could be one or two cells that might make it into that severe criteria. Hence why we had that slight risk of severe weather to our south and east. So again, the timeline is anytime after 2 p.m. I think a cell could fire up that could be strong, but more than likely it looks like after 4 p.m. when that front gets closer towards the tri-state will we see those storms potentially get stronger. And this will continue until about 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, that threat is over, and then we'll be looking at some quieter weather as we enter the end of the week. So take a look at our comments real quick on our Facebook page here, and we will see if we have any more questions. Braden says, thanks, bro. You're welcome. Russell says, will there be copious amounts? There could be amounts greater than 1/4 of an inch of rain, Russell. Anthony says, I hope you have a great day. You as well, Anthony. Raymond's joining us from Mason, Ohio. Thank you, Raymond. That's the only questions I'm seeing on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Look at my Facebook page really quick to see if we have anyone chiming in there. We do not, so we will go ahead and continue. So, again, after 10 p.m., I think the severe threat or any threat for storms is pretty much out of here. You might see in the distance, if you look to the south and east, you might see what we call thunderheads. It might bring in those flashing lights you see, but you won't hear the thunder. People refer to that as heat lightning, although heat lightning doesn't really exist. It's just the distant light you see from thunderstorms that are really far distances. But you might see that here this evening after 10 o'clock for those storms that are further off to the south and east, but we're not looking at any storm threats after that point. We go into Thursday, you can see got a lot of sunshine, temperatures will be in the 80s, so a really comfortable day ahead for Thursday. And then what we'll do is take a look at the long-range computer model. This is a model that can go out farther, so I have to zoom it out a little bit because it's not quite as precise as the one I just showed you. This is for those of you who are weather weenies or nerds, whatever it is you want to call yourself. This is the European model, and I will say going into the weekend, there's a little bit of a disagreement I have with it, and I'll talk about that here in a moment. But you'll see, we go into this evening, there's that front. Again, after 10 p.m., it's off to the south and east. We're quiet on Thursday. We're pretty quiet on Friday, although Friday you'll see a bit more cloud cover. But we head into Saturday. Saturday, I got my eye on it because we've got another frontal system making its way through. We've got a lot of heat, too. I haven't showed you the temperatures yet, but Saturday is going to be a hot, humid day. We're breaking in the 90s. We're seeing that sticky air with dew points in the 70s. And when you want to see the risk for strong storms or even severe storms, you need to have 4 different ingredients. You need to have heat. That gives you energy. you need to have a lot of moisture. You look at that through dew points. You see dew points in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, that gives you that extra moisture you need. You also need something called shear, whether it's speed or directional. If you don't know what shear is, you look at the wind profiles between the surface and higher up. And whether it's stronger winds between the surface and higher up, or the direction of the winds between the surface and higher up, that allows for storm energy. And then you also need to have, in addition to that, instability, which comes with some of those things. So you have all of those things, and you also have a front. So this cold front here is going to sag its way to the south and east. You'll see that here for Saturday afternoon. So keep my eye on Saturday for the risk for maybe some stronger storms. We haven't had a deep discussion with it yet because we've got to focus on today first with the First Alert Weather Team. But this is all the way to Saturday, so it's something we have to monitor a little bit closely. And it could be a First Alert Weather Day. But here's Saturday. You'll see here going into the midday and afternoon. This is the disagreement I have with this model. It has all this moisture, and then suddenly, poof, it's gone. I don't understand what's going on with this particular model here, the European model. But if you look at other models, if you like to look at other models, you'll see that this one's kind of the outlier amongst the other ones. But this front is still going to be here. We're still going to have that risk for stronger storms perhaps on Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. We have all those ingredients working together. The timing is going to be a little bit tricky. Right now, it looks like the timing is Saturday afternoon through the evening hours as this front makes its way through. So if you have Saturday afternoon, evening plans, I would potentially have an alternate for indoors. Don't commit to it just yet, but I would say be prepared to have those indoor options. Go to Saturday night, you can see that front continues to pass its way through. Still some showers and thunderstorms. We go into Sunday, though, maybe a few showers in the morning, but Sunday afternoon, we will dry out. We will clear out. We will get drier air, so more comfortable air moves in. Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. We head into Monday next week, we're quiet. We head into Tuesday of next week, also quiet. Looking pretty good, right? But we head into Wednesday. Wednesday, we could also see some showers and thunderstorms. Only isolated. We're not looking at anything major going into the middle of next week. Now, this is 7 days out, mind you. But I just wanted to show you that, just to let you know that this pattern we're in, you might notice the rain chances, kind of like how it was this weekend. You have the rain on Wednesday, you have the rain on Saturday or Sunday. And indeed we do. We also had it yesterday too, although it was kind of a complex forecast. That's what we mentioned it also on 19 at 6 on Sunday. That MCS or multi-convective system that was making its way through yesterday, it made its way a little bit further east, which did bring us some of that rain, which we needed the rain, absolutely. But yeah, probably caused some hiccups in some plans. All right, what we're going to do now is take a look at the 7-day forecast, and then we will go ahead and look back at the model and ask or answer any more questions folks may have before we begin to wrap this up. So here is the 7-day forecast behind me. I'll take a full screen for that way you can see it for yourself. And as you can see, as we go into the forecast for Thursday, 83 degrees, a lot of sunshine after a morning low of 62. Friday morning, waking up to temperatures in the low 60s with a high up to 88 degrees. Now, as I mentioned, Friday we are looking at a little bit of increased humidity in the afternoon into the evening hours. Saturday, scattered showers and storms in the afternoon and evening. That's a day we have to keep an eye on, high of 91. And then Sunday, we're looking at that chance for maybe a pop-up shower in the morning, but then the afternoon we are clearing out, a high of 85. Monday looks really nice. In fact, that might be a day where I'm outside doing some yard work for myself, just because A, it's my weekend, and then B, comfortable air. Look at morning lows. Morning lows are a good indicator of whether or not we're looking at comfortable air or more sticky air. So if your morning lows in the summertime here in the tri-state are in the 50s or low 60s, that's a sign of comfortable air. But if you have morning lows in the 70s, that's a sign of sticky air. And as you can see, it's kind of this pattern where a couple of cool nights, couple of warm nights, couple of cool nights, and again, it's just this, again, it's kind of a cliche, roller coaster pattern. And we're going to be kind of stuck in this pattern at least for the next week or so. But we are looking at temperatures remaining to be at or above normal for this time of the year. Our average highs are usually around the mid-80s. And on this forecast here, we do have a couple of those days above normal, pretty much Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into Tuesday of next week. But I will say temperatures going into the end of next week, into the following weekend, do all look rather warm here into the area. Okay, let's take a look at some of the questions and comments we have, and we will begin to wrap this up here soon. We've got Now the Natty at 12:30. Belinda says, hi, we need rain. I know we do, and we still have abnormally dry conditions according to the drought monitor. They issue those once a week, and that's going to come out tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that expand for much of the Fox 19 Now viewing area, though some of the rain we've had over between the weekend as well as what we had yesterday and what we could have today might affect that a little bit. Although I do believe that they get their measurements on Tuesday, they review it, and then they issue it on Thursday. So it may still be a lot of abnormally dry conditions. Got a couple of comments on my Facebook page. I'll check those out here. Debbie says, thanks for the rain. I'll take all credit for it. Travis says, how's the weekend looking? I just showed that. The 7-day forecast is behind me. Saturday looks like we're looking at wet conditions in the afternoon, scattered showers and storms. Sunday morning might have a few lingering showers, but Sunday afternoon right now looks dry. Brian on our Fox 19 Facebook page asking, how does it look for the Kenny Chesney concert at TQL Stadium Saturday night? That's going to be a tricky one. And it's one of those scenarios where it depends on the timing of those storms. They might have to delay it. They might have to push it up. I'm not an event planner, but the storms right now are something we need to keep a close eye on for Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. And I was going to make a graphic for Kenny Chesney with that concert. It's going to be a big event here in Cincinnati, but have not had time to do that yet because right after this I got to go out and do a story. But I'll get that graphic done, and we'll talk about it more in detail as we get closer. Molly says, hello, Ethan. How about the afternoon storms moving through around Pleasant Plain? We need the rain. My pond needs a fresh fill-up. I understand that. My dad over in Highland County has a pond as well, and it's getting a little low. Needs some moisture. So look at that forecast model for you once again, and then we'll begin to wrap this up as we need to give this space to Now in the Natty. Okay. So, one more time, here is that forecast model. And what I'll do is I'll take it full for you. That way you can see it in full. But here is the latest from this particular model. So we go into this afternoon. You can see things are relatively dry. A lot of cloud cover, though. And that cloud cover is going to be a limiting factor for that severe threat. Now, again, these storms, I think the main threat is going to be the heavy rain. So a downpour that could bring in some ponding roadways briefly, as well as some soggy yards, and with how dry the soil is, it could lead to some quick runoff because that soil, when it's really dry, it's hard to take in all that moisture all at once. So again, the main threat looks like heavy rain. The secondary threat looks like gusty winds. So after around 3 o'clock or so, there's that front making its way southward, and notice how you have those areas that are light green getting to red in a short period of time. That's an indication of those heavy downpours. And this is going to be scattered. So some places won't see as much rain as others. And it's going to be one of those scenarios, it's hard to pinpoint those as that front makes its way through. It's going to be where that best convection is, where that best heat, that best moisture for those cells to fire up. But these scattered showers and storms along this front will continue for the homebound commute through the evening. And then by 10 o'clock, you can see there that front is pretty much mostly outside the Fox 19 Now viewing area, with the exception of Mason, Adams, Lewis, and Robertson counties. And then we'll dry out going into the overnight hours into your Thursday. So again, a slight risk of severe weather to our south and east still in effect from the Storm Prediction Center. There are no active watches or warnings right now, and I suspect there to be a couple of stronger storms, not looking at a severe weather outbreak by any means. And one more time before we begin to close out, this is your 7-day forecast. Temperatures, most of the 7-day are in the 80s, with morning lows ranging between 59 on Monday morning to 74 on Saturday morning. A big disparity amongst the comfortable days versus the sticky, humid days. And the storm chances, of course, today for this afternoon and this evening, also Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, and maybe a small chance on Sunday morning. Otherwise, mostly of a dry 7-day forecast. And the only 90-degree day we have right now is on Saturday. All right, we are going to go ahead and send things off. So thank you all so much for joining us here on this Wednesday edition of 19 at Noon.